Stefon Diggs looks like he tore his ACL. Kind of break down, I guess, from what you saw, how did this happen?
So, 75% of ACL tears are non-contact. He just started running a route, pivoted to the right, and then tried to cut back to the left, and it didn't. His knee gave out, and more often than not, that's an ACL. Think of it as a tight and elastic band that has been slowly weakened over time, and its time was now, and it tore. Compare that to, say, last week when we had Brandon Ayuk. That was a contact ACL, meaning there was a player who hit him or was responsible for kind of forcing that. That was not as common. If he didn't have that hit, he probably wouldn't have tore his ACL at that time. Similar to J.K. Dobbins several years ago when he had a contact ACL versus most guys whose knee just kind of collapses and then you fall down and then that's it. You can walk off the field. Some people will play some more snaps, but it doesn't really hypothetically change the quality of that tissue. If it's torn, it's torn. Obviously, if it's partially torn, then it becomes a trickier situation. But we don't know if what other damage there was. Is it LCL? Is there MCL involved? Is there some meniscus, which is about 30% of the time? It's just unfortunate because now he'll be 31. He turns 31, I think, in about a month from now, and he's going to be a free agent. And we saw most wide receivers coming off ACL don't really do the best. I mean, especially wide receivers. Godwin was the last one, and he took about half a season to really look good. And he was 25 when he did it, maybe 26. Cooper Kupp did it way back when, but that was 7-8 years ago, something like that. So There's not many wide receivers that do well in their first year back. We've had a couple of running back exceptions, but look at Mike Williams this year. It's a tough injury to come back from. And the tricky part is you really don't have if you want to be back for week one, which most guys want to, it becomes tough because you can't run and cut like you want to. Kendrick Bourne, pretty much irrelevant this year. Keaton Mitchell hasn't even been back yet, although running back. Hawkinson should play this week. Higbee hasn't even been discussed at all. He had his ACL. Chubb already had his, and he's been doing all right. Naheem Hines, who had that jet ski accident, whatever it was, he got activated. They said he wasn't ready, and he's done for the year. He never got activated fully. The ACLs for position players, non-quarterbacks, are tough. There's a lot of energy that it takes to transfer energy back to the other side. And unfortunately, pretty much all of it goes through that ACL. And if you have enough energy to tear that ACL, you're going to have a lot of other small injuries in that knee. And then we start developing compensation patterns. Opposite side Achilles, opposite side ACL, like we'll say J.K. Dobbins, like Cam Akers has had multiple Achilles. We just saw Deshaun Watson, who's had multiple ACLs. Now he's got an Achilles. So there are compensating injuries because you're still trying to generate that explosiveness and that force, but now you have to baby one side for almost a year, or close to a year, and the other side has to do a whole lot more work. And unfortunately, you don't just run with one leg. So most of those tissues are already starting to kind of wear and tear. And then some guys, it's a little bit more complicated than that. It gets a little deeper than that, but that's the long and short of it. And we've already got, there's my list right here. We've got 15 guys on the season-ending IR from a position player, so to speak, a fantasy relevant player. And I have 1, 2, 3 ACLs, or 4 ACLs with Barrios.
Yeah. Damn.
Man.
And there might be more. Those are just the big name guys.
So go through. Is Chubb ready to go without a clock? Pitch count on him?
I'd probably give him 2 more weeks.
2 more weeks. All right.
Mixon, usually it's about a 4-week ramp up.
Is that more so just to be cautious, or is that just like, is there any medical reason behind like doing that slow ramp up?
Yeah, it just takes time to get that tissue to bounce back and for you to have confidence in it, and to you to weed out some of the compensating injuries that that you need to address before they develop. So most guys, same thing with Hawkinson, same thing with Mitchell, same thing with, rarely does a guy start week one post ACL when he comes back to the field and just explodes like nothing ever happened. It can happen. Right. It's just really, really rare. It usually takes some time to kind of ramp up. And, it's not like a running back where you can get a decent amount of touches. Like, how many wide receivers get 10 targets in a game? A handful, maybe.
Right.
And you have to beat that player on every route just in case you're getting the ball. So it's tough, and then they have to build their win back up and stuff like that. So, it's just a tough injury. We think, oh yeah, ACL, they'll be back. Yeah, they might be back, but it's not. Most of the time, they're not quite the same player.